Animaniacs. We're zany to the max. We put baloney in their slacks. Clinton plays the sax. We're Animani, totally insane. We're Animaniacs. And those are the facts. That just kind of lives rent free in my brain. Animaniacs, it did air on Saturday mornings later on, but originally a weekday afternoon show. Animaniacs, created by Tom Ruger. Sorry if I'm produced by Warner Brothers Television. It originally aired in 1993. I remember seeing the airing of the very first episode. Even as a kid, I thought it was brilliant. I didn't get all the references with Termite Terrace and the classic animation that they were. They paid respect to a lot of classic animation and animators, and even now, I think the show is utterly brilliant. So yes, as I was there from day one. I have from 1993. I still have my giant Yakko. I never completed the set, but he is like 4 feet tall. And if you do have a giant Wacko and Sister Dot that you'd be willing to donate the cause, yeah, I'd love to have them. I think, it's one of those things where that show meant a lot to me. These characters mean a lot to me. This was my introduction to fast-paced, absurdist humor. As well as it had an intellectual bent to it, as it was trying to be educational from time to time with like the some of the skits, or some of the stuff as a kid went right over my head. They're doing West Side Story parodies or Les Mis parodies. And all that just kind of, as a kid, went over my head. And as an adult, rewatching, going, "Oh my God, this stuff was brilliant." If you're Animaniacs was just huge in the early '90s. It was originally supposed to be a spin-off of Tiny Toon Adventures. They were all originally going to be ducks, like Plucky Duck, and then somewhere along the line they transformed into an homage to classic black and white animation, with I think technically they're dogs, but I don't know. I don't think they have they're the Warner Brothers and the Sister Dot. They are something completely different. The show was utterly brilliant, produced by Steven Spielberg. The story, as I know it, was Spielberg had produced Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that gave him this, little bit of taste for like wanting to see classic animation return, which caused him to produce several different cartoons of the 90s. Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, which then gave us Pinky and the Brain. And then I believe the last of the Spielberg cartoons was Freakazoid, which Freakazoid, there is an episode about Freakazoid as well. Believe me, that show was brilliant. And as a superhero nerd, that show hit the sweet spot for me personally. But Animaniacs, I spent hours of my life. I mean, hours of my life playing the SNES Animaniacs video game, which if you were if you developed any of that, you're a genius. That game was brilliant. It was you as the Animaniacs running around the studios, trying to prevent Pinky and the Brain from taking over the world. But you would crash different film sets, which would then create different mini games, or, I never got past the trying to get across the ocean as the Jaws shark came at you. But huge part of my childhood was spent playing the Animaniacs game. The art was breathtaking. They don't make cartoons like this anymore. They just don't. Even when they brought it back in 2000, it had lost a step. And I'm going to be honest, because it came back not 2020. It came back in 2020 with a reboot. I enjoyed it. But I don't know if there was a rights issues or what, but I wanted to see the other characters. I wanted to see Slappy Squirrel. I wanted to see, Mime Time. I wanted to see new chicken adventures. And those classic characters weren't on the table. I don't know if there was a rights issue or what. I mean, they made a cameo, but it didn't feel the same, because the original show was you had the A plot with the Animaniacs and then several different, short adventures with, the dog and Mindy, or the Good Feathers, and those, without those segments, it just felt like it was missing something. Years ago, well, a couple years ago at this point, I don't remember the exact year, I had the incredibly good fortune to meet Jess Harnell, the voice of Wacko. Incredible. Like, normally when I say, oh, I met this celebrity, I met this voice actor, 99% of the time, it's at a comic book convention. I'm a cartoonist. I frequent comic book conventions. They're my home away from home. So 90% of the time when I say I met somebody, it was at a comic book event. This is the one rare occasion where I met somebody and it wasn't at a convention. My wife and I, actually, I believe it was, now I think about it, 2019. Because it was just before COVID hit America, or whatever the year was, just before the lockdowns and the outbreaks. My wife and I had a little vacation and we went to Las Vegas, and it was just coincidental. We didn't know the world was going to shut down. What happened was we were leaving one casino to go see the Beatles show, the Beatles tribute show. I can't even remember what it's called. But as we're sitting there waiting for our Uber, a taxi pulls up, and just out of the corner of my peripheral vision, I hear Wacko. Like I hear, like, I'm like, no. And I just kind of keep listening. And Jess Harnell, if you've never met him or seen him in real life, he looks like a rock star. He was head to toe, blue studded jumpsuit, long hair, cowboy hat. He looks like he's, you know, he looks the part. He is also part of a band that does heavy metal remakes of pop songs. I forget the name of the band, but incredible talent, Jess Arnell. Anyway, as he's getting out of the taxi, I look at him and I went, "You're an Animaniac." And he just smiled and goes, "Yes, I am." And my wife is looking at me like, "Why are you attacking this stranger?" And I turn to her and I say, "Hey, this is the voice of Yakko." And he was polite enough to correct me. He goes, no, Wacko. You know, my brother's Yakko. And I just had a little moment with Jess Arnell out on the strip of Vegas, and I was stunned, because normally when I have these interactions, I'm prepared. I know, you know, it's the convention. I know who's going to be there, or what. It just caught me off by guard. He was the one who said, "Hey, you want a photo?" I said, yes, please. And his stunning wife, absolutely gorgeous woman, took the photo of my wife, and I. It is framed. It's actually in our bathroom. It's just an absolutely lovely man. I asked him if he was going to perform that night, because he clearly looked like he was getting ready to step out on stage, and he just said no. So if you follow him on Instagram, do, because I started from that day forward. He dresses like that every day. That is just his normal day attire, which it's insane, because, you know, you think that voice, you think Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because he did Roger Rabbit for the parks, not the movie. But absolutely gorgeous man and his lovely wife. Follow them on Instagram for a real treat. But yeah, it just completely took me by surprise. The other Animaniac that I had the fortunate pleasure of meeting was Randy. Hey, people of the interwebs. Real quick ad break. If you want to check out any of our amazing books, please go to our storefront, where you can purchase all of our books, including some without even pictures. Have access directly to our books. Also, a lot of our books are available on Amazon.com, and we just would appreciate the support as well. All books sold directly from the store will be signed. Support your local author. Regal. Yeah, no, is that right? Oh, no, Randy Regal was the creator. Did I meet Randy Regal? No, I'm confused. Yeah, years ago, I ran into the lyricist, the songwriter for many of the songs. There was the producer of Batman the Animated Series, Alan Burnett. I met Alan Burnett on the floor of a WonderCon, and it was just we just crossed paths, and I was trying to get him to look at my portfolio, because I'm a struggling artist, and he said, "Oh, I'm here with Roger Ruggles," and he was just praising Animaniacs, and I froze in the moment. If you ever hear this, Randy, I apologize. I really do. I'm sorry. I should have, like, in my later, the Les Mis parodies and everything, and Animaniacs was so brilliant with its music, and in that moment I just completely froze, because I was trying to get Alan Burnett to look at my portfolio, and he introduced you, and it just threw me off. I was so nervous, complete and utter wreck, curveball. So if you ever hear this, I apologize deeply. I'm sure you don't even remember this interaction, but it is embarrassing and it haunts me to this day. Animaniacs, I feel, is one of the greatest animated series of all times, hands down. If we're talking top 4 animated cartoons of all time, it's up there. It is brilliant. It is incredibly animated. It shows its reference on its sleeve. If you're an adult, you can catch some of the references. Some of the stuff you got to be a true cinephile to understand. The Brain segment where they're parroting Orson Welles' pee commercial outtake is absolutely hilarious. But if you don't understand what they're parroting, you can be like, yeah, that was an okay segment. But when you get what they're parroting, it's utter brilliance. Truly, I think I have part of my love for old Hollywood to think on some of their sketches and some of what they did. They introduced me to Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was a repeat character on the show as a adolescent at the time. I had no idea who Jerry Lewis was. I never watched any of his movies. I didn't even know about, because at that time he was still doing the muscular dystrophy telethon. But, I wasn't watching that. So to go back and to realize, not only did they introduce me to Jerry Lewis, but they were actually reusing some of his bits from with the candy store and an absolute just love letter to some of this classic comedy. And the way that Looney Tunes introduced, a generation of kids to those older stars through reruns. Animaniacs was doing it live right then and there. The show is utterly brilliant. I know an artist who makes his entire career is drawing sexy animal babes, very similar to the way that a few characters in Animaniacs were drawn. This guy makes a living just drawing pinup animal characters, the way that a couple of characters were represented in anime. The nurse was human, but I can't think of that particular animal female figure. But yeah, Animaniacs, completely brilliant. The Hello Nurse. There was a bit in the video game where if you got near the nurse, the two brothers would basically become, their eyes would pop out, and the security guard can come and get them. And the sister was just sitting there like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're idiots. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff was just brilliant. It's stuff that stuck with me. The wheel of morality, turn. That's just in my brain. The movie, the Where the Falling Star, Like, all this stuff is just brilliant. The Wish. The Bambi, the Slappy the Squirrel segment was a particular highlight. They weren't afraid to parody anything, including Power Rangers. They made fun of the first time they switched from Kids WB to or when they switched from Fox to Kids WB, because when they made the jump to Kids WB, that was when they were definitely Saturday morning affair, because originally it was weekdays on Fox. And I don't know who the programming guy at my local Fox affiliate was, but he didn't care, and we got more reruns during the week than anything. It still bothers me that they could run the same episode of Batman all week long. Don't get me wrong, every episode's a brilliant episode of Batman the Animated Series. But the first Joker episode with the clown robot, you can only watch that so many times in a row. And again, that was my local Fox affiliate station that had nothing to do with Anyway, I'm still angry about something that happened 30 years ago. But that's par for the course. Again, absolute brilliant animation. This stuff lives on and on and on. The reboot in 2020, like I said, I enjoyed it. I would have liked the other characters to have been a part of that, because Animaniacs without those characters, the brothers and Sister Dot are the main crux, but the majority of that show would have these segments with them running through the background, and without those other segments, it didn't feel as strong as the original series. Pinky and the Brain, brilliant. Again, everything that came out of Animaniacs at that time was just pure brilliance. My hat off to the writers and animators. Go back if you can, look at the background paintings of that show. Everything is just if you ever want to feel inferior as an artist, just look at animation backgrounds, because that stuff will hurt your soul, because there is nothing I can do as a painter today that can equal what was done in the 1930s by some of those background artists. But it real talent, real brilliance. Some of the best voice acting in any cartoon, period. To this day, my wife refers to her stepdad as Dadu because of a 30-second gag in one episode of Animaniacs. Like, that stuff sticks with you and it means something. This show was just brilliant. And everybody who worked on it was at the top of their game. I understand why it started, why it went away. Because once you get further into the 90s, the anime craze hits, Pokemon hits, And if it wasn't anime, the executives at different animation studios didn't want it. And I get that. Like, Pokemon was a huge cultural touchstone in 97. But, you know, like, I mean, Animaniacs ran from 93 to 97. Or was it? No, the series ended in 98. Like, most cartoons don't get that kind of run. 99 episodes. That's insane. And a little rude. One episode shy of 100. I get the way animation is ordered is different than regular television, but you couldn't do 100 episode special. That's some bullshit. I mean, well, the reboot puts it over 100, but I don't know if the Hulu reboot is in contention for the rerun package. I don't even know if Animaniacs. That's one of the reasons why I started this little art show, is because I wanted to pay homage and respect to the cartoons of past. Because I don't even know if Animaniacs, the original series, is airing anywhere, streaming or otherwise. You know, and that's not a good thing. That 99 episodes, you know, I should be able to show this to my 4-year-old niece. You know, I had a problem with HBO Max because, you know, I have a t-shirt with Michigan J. Frog on it. And my 4-year-old niece went, "Frog." And I thought, oh, this is a great time to show her One Froggy Evening. It's not available to stream. You know, that's not okay. That's not right. These animation is not only, it's an art form, and it should be treated as an art form, and we should be saving these. We should be, it should be easier for the next generation to see this. Even if you don't get the jokes, guess what? I didn't get some of the jokes when I was first watching Looney Tunes as a kid, because I didn't know who they were parodying, or I didn't get, you know, that the giant snowman was a reference to Of Mice and Men. But Animaniacs works the same way. They're shooting above the heads of your audience. When I was a kid, I got the potty jokes and the fart jokes and the sandwich jokes, and then when you come back to it a little older, you get the nuance. You get the, oh, Goodfeathers is a, you know, a deeper reference to something that I never would have seen as a kid. You know, the gangster pictures, you know, Goodfellas, the Scorsese references, all that stuff is a education that, you know, I am better off for because I watched Animaniacs as a kid. You know, and on top of it, it was educational. They did the there's a great Animaniacs skit where they're helping Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling. And there's just a beautiful gag where Yakko goes, "We're going to help you do it. Not because we need the money, not because we like you, but because we enjoy painting naked people." That's just hilarious. And then at the end of that skit, it's one of the times Spielberg cameos as the Pope. It's a brilliant show. It needs to be preserved. I think it should be it is on my Mount Rushmore of Saturday morning cartoons. Absolutely. It is brilliant. Like I said, I was there in '93 when it premiered. It warped my little brain. I am a better human being for growing up on something like Animaniacs. It was one of those shows that, guess what? I had to hurry up and finish up my homework to get to, if I wanted to watch Animaniacs. Just utter brilliance. Like I said, I was disappointed in the revival. But I still haven't seen the third season. Disappointed in the revival, but I'm glad we got it. Any amount of Animaniacs in this world makes this world a little bit better. So, I am truly glad that we got more Animaniacs. So wrapping up, I want to say thank you. This is my little PBS animation art show that I'm trying to do every Saturday. I hope you enjoy these videos. I already know what the next 52 cartoons I'm going to be doing are. Next week after Animaniacs, we are going to be doing I believe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, come back next week for TMNT, Teen Power, Turtle Power, Turtle Power. But yes, I'd like to, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe. They call it a call for action. Buy my books. Give me money on Patreon. I need it all. I am a broke, starving artist. And again, if you've enjoyed anything I produced, give me a like, give me a subscribe, please share. Thank you for your time. This is we're going to get better at it as I learn what I'm doing. But this is my little PBS art show, and like I said, I hope you enjoy what I'm throwing down. Animaniacs meant a lot to me. And the whole Saturday morning concept of Saturday morning cartoons means a lot to me. I know MeTV has a cartoon channel, but not all of us can get that. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope you draw along, sketch along. This is just fun Saturday morning cartooning. So have a good day. Well, there you have it. Please like and subscribe. In the comments, what was your favorite gag from the Animaniacs? Mine was in the first episode they turned into flowers, and the doctor says something like, "No more gags." He goes, "This is a visual gag." Or "No more jokes. This isn't a joke. It's a visual gag." So yeah, what's your favorite Animaniacs joke?